They're telling followers. Here we go, one already.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Hi, afternoon. You're gonna have to respond. Maybe I sent an emoji. No. How do you send an emoji? No.
There you go.
We're not even, it's not even on me anymore.
Removed it.
Lose! No! Shit. Sorry. Malfunction. Burning some sage before I speak to Nicole. Clear the air. I've had my head down a toilet all morning, but you'll see that in a minute. Intense. How's everyone doing? It is actually cover lighter.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
I miss you, Millie.
You got it?
AIDA.
Hi.
Hi. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
I saw you were burning some sage.
I've been doing a lot of burning sage.
It's been
Calm down.
a tough day for you. A tough 2 days so far.
Tough 2 days. I think it was mostly the heat and just trying to kind of do wallpaper in the heat. It's been really. Hi, Lucas.
Bit of a challenge.
Lucas Price is on. Miss you.
Hello.
But yeah, but honestly,
Actually, I showed him in Hong Kong in 2008.
Oh, I was working
Yeah,
with
over
Lucas
12 years ago.
Yeah, but
So
it's
I've got a bunch of questions I want to ask you, but
okay.
I'll
I will
try to be
take my
gentle.
shades off at some point. So you can
Keep
see
them on,
my
they look good.
bloodshot eyes. I'm just gonna have a cigarette while we chat for a sec.
Sure, of course. Well, I wanted
Thank
to ask
you.
you, how have you been since the virus, really, since the outbreak? I know that it's affected you quite deeply, right?
Very deeply. I think because I live alone and work alone, I think that's been like the hardest thing. And I think I was saying like yesterday, after the first proper week of lockdown, I kind of realized that I didn't have a choice in seeing my friends or family.
Yeah.
And that was really tough for me. And obviously, like, I'd been prepping for the other art fair that I was curating a show, and then letting all the artists know and stuff, and dealing with work, and then having this project more or less at the same time and thinking about that was very overwhelming for me, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think you also took the whole social distancing really seriously, didn't you?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I think I started wearing
people.
a mask like 2 weeks before anyone had said, like, you have to stay home kind of thing. Just because
Yeah,
I'd had friends abroad, and obviously you guys were affected before us. So yeah, proper
yeah. No, you
serious.
did the right thing. Difficult, but you did the right thing.
But I think, see, someone did comment earlier about the planes again. I'd gotten so used to the silence. I think the best thing about it was the silence.
Quiet.
So we've got a lot of construction in Hackney Wick where I live, and that had stopped, and that was bloody great.
Yeah, bit of a relief. Always look for the silver lining. So do you think you had any personal sort of revelations or self-reflections during that time when you isolated yourself? Plenty.
A lot. I think the first thing I realized was how I rely, even though my work is quite solitary, I did realize that I need human interaction, human
Yeah.
touch. And I found it very hard to get used to using technology and being online and having my phone constantly in my hand to communicate was really affecting me. And I chose not to go on Zoom or use House Party and stuff like that, because I thought, you know what, I didn't use it before, I'm not going to use it again. Everyone else is doing it. So I was quite isolated. So I started reading quite a bit. I was trying to do some bit of self-Reiki, some healing. So I was reading a lot of Rumi sort of before lockdown for like 6 months, just to have some clarity and some words of wisdom kind of go to my head. So that's crept into the work as well. So I think everything that I've been kind of feeling for a really long time, overpouring of emotions, has really gone into this. Some of the work, honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I was bawling my eyes out as I was making it and printing it. Like, the print bed had tears.
Yeah. I mean, based on, I'm not even there, but based on what I've seen, I can actually even feel that. I think that intensity, I've been able to at least get glimpses of it so far. We can show some of what you've done later.
I think, what was I going to say? Like, I've completely forgotten the point that I was just going to make. But I might remember it and come back.
Sorry for interrupting.
It's my brain.
I mean, do you think...
You know what it's like? Did you experience this where at some point you were so overwhelmed and frantic that you'd start one thing and then leave it and move on to the other thing? And literally, like, for a few weeks, I was just running around in this weird
AIDA, that's
frenzy.
me every day. That's me every day for the past few weeks, so I totally get it. There's just so much going on and so much you want to do. And
but I think speaking, a lot of the influences was what happens is, I think with me, I think I was speaking to Doug about it yesterday, because my activism directly comes from responding to work very, very immediately, because my activism is not about me going out in the street with a placard, if you know what I mean. My activism is the sheer act of me creating that work or that response, that instantly, is the activism in itself, I suppose. So I think what I was finding really difficult was processing news, processing what was happening outside, processing what was happening inside, and trying to respond as quickly as I could. So I guess maybe that's why there's so much emotion and feel in the work. Because I felt like if I left it a couple of days later, I wouldn't be feeling that emotion still. So it was just trying to get that energy into the work, I think. And that's why I found
delays,
it.
Right?
Sorry?
And there's been some delays in terms of, like, from you coming up with your concept and trying to realize it because of COVID.
Yeah. So basically, once I jotted the idea down, I was like literally sourcing how I can execute it and what companies and outlets that I can source the materials from, who was open, who wasn't open, you know, for instance, like sourcing, getting the cap stitched for a start, that already had a month lead for the caps. The wallpaper, the digital wallpaper had 3 weeks lead.
Yeah.
It was like just this constant battle of trying to find, and there's some pieces that I couldn't get to make anyway because no one was open. The person that I needed to drill into the glass wasn't open.
I can imagine it's frustrating because it's like
ordering, you know, even paper and ink, you know, phoning and going, when can you get this to me, by when? So many restrictions and things like that.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Do you think you'll come away from this though, thinking that, you know, it was a positive experience rather than a negative experience?
I think the positives far outweigh the negatives. I think in terms of me knowing my limits now and what I can actually do, especially in terms of organizing. So basically, I don't know if you know, I have a design assistant that lives in Sweden. So for a start, I was coming up with the concept, sending the designs over, and he was doing all the computer work. So even then, we were working remotely like this.
Yeah.
He'd show me his computer, and you know, I was doing that almost every morning for 3 hours before I went to print, always working ahead. So I learned that actually it is possible to kind of work very socially distanced. And
look at me.
And you know, engaging with you and Jason and Tom and everyone and sort of coordinating everything. But I must say, you guys were so great with sending all the plans and sizes and stuff like that. So, you know, I think everyone did their part. But I did realize that I'm not as strong as I actually thought I was. I felt a heavy vulnerability, I suppose. I was very vulnerable and alone. I think the loneliness was kind of the worst thing for me, I think. Working late.
Yeah.
No one to talk
well,
to.
You did, I mean, talking about that, because you know, you were talking about not having the social interaction. I know that for part of the project, you did a workshop, right? A neighborhood print workshop.
Yeah.
So were you like undecided whether to go ahead, or did you think, you know, fuck it, I'm going to do it? Or I don't know. I only saw, you know, the video and everything. So I'd love to know how it sort of came about and the energy of the day.
I think, so I started this thing called Printers Power in 2013 with a movement called Reclamation Nation. So it was basically the first workshops I did were more to do with gentrification and stuff like that in my area. That's how it first started, and about collating information from other people and feeding that back into my practice. And actually the generosity of people willing to kind of engage and be part of that so selflessly, you know, because I think I was so selfless with myself because, you know, the project was self-funded and I just went out into the world and did loads of things with people and stuff. So what I had to do, obviously, with lockdown, was think about how I was going to try and get that community engagement and interaction back into the work. Because I think when you are making social commentary work or anything to do with mass public and putting it out there, I think it's slightly unfair not to have them involved. The people's opinions are really, really important to me. So at the beginning, when the lockdown was really tight, what I was doing very, very subliminally and slowly was putting things on my stories on Instagram to ask for people's opinions. And that evolved in the sense I started finding a lot of discarded objects that people, you know, people were spring cleaning because of COVID. So, you know, then it was almost like a wish list, to be honest with you, because some days I'd be like, oh, it'd be really nice if I find a bit of like fabric somewhere. It would be really nice. And literally they were just turning up outside my doorstep, more or less. So, you know, those are the things that I kind of started asking questions on my Instagram about. I was like, guys, what do you think should go on this? Blah, blah, blah. And, you know, really nice, like a lot of people responded. There was a point where I was questioning things about friendships and loneliness and blah, blah, blah. So I was like writing little notes and putting them on Insta. Then I took, you know, a lot of people were commenting, so some of those comments have crept into the work. You know what I mean? And also I used a lot of inspiration from the kind of advertising I was getting on my Instagram feed.
Like the mask.
Like the mask, my top 16 mask, which I found so surreal. Could you imagine? You on Instagram, so instead of getting adverts for drinks or whatever, you were getting what mask you should wear. It was so fucking surreal. I'm still screen grabbing them, to be honest. So, you know, from that idea, so once I didn't think that lockdown was going to ease for us in the UK as fast. So I think within the month when the announcements were getting kind of thing, I was like, oh, actually, we can perhaps have a kind of a socially distant workshop happening locally, because I'm really lucky. I live in a sort of a big warehouse complex, and I'm very close with my neighbours. There's like, I don't know, 200 of us, but you know, there's a core 20. So I put the feelers out. I was like, oh, you know, if I do this workshop, do you want to be involved in my next installation? Oh,
I'm sure everybody was jumping at it.
No, they honestly, the day they turned up, I almost cried, because like they came like in a little brigade. You know, what do you want us to do? Yeah, we'll just, and sun was out because it initially got postponed because of the rain. Then the following week, everyone turned up again. Beers, you know, everyone just sat outside all day, and the theme of that was sort of panic and fear, because there's a room here. I think when I had the site visit, there's a room under the stairs, and there was a safe. There's a big metal safe in there. And that's actually how I got the idea to do the pandemic panic room. So that room is all the posters that were produced from the workshop by my neighbours and everyone. And that's everyone sort of, there's some hopeful things in there, actually. There's some engagement, dialogue.
Messages,
Sorry, Nicole, there's a plane again.
I was just saying, it's always good to have positive and negative mixed messages.
Yeah. I think all of, you know, everyone, I mean, it was such a positive day, honestly. I don't think I don't know, I'm not going to be so self-righteous and say I don't have an ego. Of course I have an ego, but I always love people to be involved with my work, because even with the street pieces I do, they're never signed, they're never what, you know, it's just out, and once it's out to the universe and the public domain, and if the public want to own it, they can own it, they can do whatever they want with it, which they mostly do anyway. That's why that room and that interaction with my neighbours was really, because they've been so supportive, you know, collecting loo roll for me and their products that they've they kind of were chucking out. So right at the beginning of the proper lockdown, I asked a few of my neighbours and family, sorry, there's a lot of pollen flying about. So I asked them to collect loo rolls for me, because I knew obviously I was going to do the loo in the house. But then, I don't know, it was such a knee-jerk reaction to say that. So I was just nonchalant to go into everyone, can you just let me anti-loo rolls? And like the other week, it actually dawned on me why I asked them to do that. And I think it was to kind of chart and document our consumption, because there was such a panic over loo roll everywhere, obviously, with the empty shelves.
Yeah.
I thought, and if you see the pile of loo rolls that I have got that I'm going to put into the house, it kind of shows you the magnitude of waste, I suppose, and consumption of something that was such a rare commodity for a good few weeks.
Yeah, but also how crazy people responded in some ways, right? Of all things, you know, loo paper was the one that everyone was worried about. Do you mind if I quickly jump? I'm just going to jump a little bit, because we keep talking about your installation in the house. And so when we came up with this project and we had a brief, you chose the space, which we now call Granny Annie and Annie Lou. So I wanted to ask you why you decided to choose that space to start off with, and then we can talk more about the artworks.
I have okay, this is quite embarrassing. I do have a thing about, seriously, since like college, art school, I have got a thing about toilets. I used to do I used to put out of order signs at the uni LCC's toilet doors. There were certain blocks that weren't used very much then, so I'd put an out of order sign on the doors and just conduct loads of photo shoots in the toilets. So, I don't know, I'm just drawn into sort of bathrooms and toilets to begin with. And I think it was you had, I don't know if you want to admit this, you had dubbed the downstairs toilet as the nanny loo, because it's this little granny annex kind of tiny space and stuff like that.
Yeah, the wallpaper, and it was the smell. There's a certain sort of musty smell about it.
But one of the first pieces, because obviously you had given me options of rooms to choose and stuff like that, and the first ever piece that I started painting before the UK lockdown and the loo panic was, it was my first time that I'd gone shopping in 2 weeks, and I went to Lidl, which is up the road from me. I love Lidl, big fan of Lidl. And I made a piece called Panic in Lidl, and it's a pig with, fighting for food and stuff like that. So that's when I did visit the house, because initially I was going to do the master cupboard, wasn't I? The bed, sort of the walk-in cupboard.
Walk-in wardrobe.
The wardrobe. And then I saw the loo, and it was like immediate. The alleyway, the ceilings.
Love it.
And I thought, but I actually thought, oh, Ida, this makes so much sense with the kind of work you're making. I was making work about cleanliness, staying away, staying home, keeping clean, and the virus. So I thought it makes sense. If it wasn't that, it would have been the shower or somewhere else, Yeah. And then I saw the panic room, and I was like, this all makes sense with the body of work that I'm already thinking about making. So, yeah. So
would you
be
able to give us? Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Just about the Granny Alley, and that was a conversation between Tom, the project manager at this end, obviously. We were having a WhatsApp chat, and then we dubbed here kind of Granny Ali, didn't we, Tom? And it makes sense because, you know, because when you think who was the most vulnerable with COVID, the initial first thing was the elderly.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Your granny or your granddad or whatever else. So hence why we've got Granny Ali. It's the vulnerability of not just your granny, but anyone who's vulnerable. But I hope that
Yeah.
comes across with the work.
Do you think it's possible to give us a little sneak peek of what you've been doing?
If you want. Progress
Please?
is slow. It's just the damn wallpaper. It's like, can you please, everyone, I've instructed everybody, even Juliet, who's helping me out. I was like, Juliet, if I ever say that I want to do wallpaper anywhere, just please, please talk me out. But I think once we've got the wallpaper up,
I want. Well,
be cool.
I'd like to see the the work in progress, and I'm sure whoever's watching would too.
It's
no,
a mess.
you're not ready for it.
No,
if you're
we
not
can.
ready for
No,
it,
come on, come on, come on.
show me Ada. I'm stuck here in Hong Kong. I'm constantly asking Tom. I'm like, Tom, send me videos, send me photos.
Okay. So do you want to? We'll start. So we haven't put any blinds up or anything yet. So
Okay.
this is where I've been this morning, with my head down the toilet. Fun, fun, fun. Are you ready for it? We've had to take the light out because I was wallpapering.
Notice the do not use.
Tom, bring it round.
It's no longer a functioning loo.
So only I'm using the toilet. I've got my own toilet.
Okay, good. That's good.
Are you
for,
ready? Why did you do that? You just did that.
I thought you were opening it for it.
So far, I don't know.
Gosh,
Can you
that
see?
wallpaper.
Do you like it?
Yeah, love it. So those are all made of like emojis.
So,
and
yeah.
do you follow the pattern of the existing wallpaper or wallpaper from the other room?
No, what I did, because you know your library, this is really
Yes.
your library's got the damask, and you know I'm a surface designer, so I initially studied pattern design, so I used to print loads of textiles on wallpaper anyway at uni and after. So I was always quite obsessed with damask pattern that you have in the library, and what I did was sort of find a damask that I really liked. Then we overlaid, we found actually it was a miracle because originally we were designing the emojis by hand. And then we found a program that had emojis. So what we did was follow the damask pattern and overlay things. So it was just a matter of trying to tell a story with the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of starts, the middle figure is, I'll go here. The middle figure is a little man with a mask holding the loo roll, and it travels onto the roller coaster of the emotions. Then you've got joggers there, you've got aeroplanes, toilets with poos, people with phones. It's got like the bats up there and stuff like that. So then you've got lockdown, and honestly, I must tell you what, I'm going to get really emotional about this. It was the realization at the beginning that people that were delivering things, so in our blog, you know, we have DPD, UPS, Hermes, you know, your heart really went out for these people. But you know, I'm quite close with my delivery people because I always get stuff coming in, and you know, just taking that moment to chat with them and how hard they were working, not to let people down almost. Because we were so dependent on ordering things online. So sort of, you know, I kind of had to put, you know, I was thanking them all the time, but it was like, there's a piece I've written for the curtains, you know, 0 to kind of hero. So all of a sudden,
Yeah.
everyone that was kind of invisible and behind the scenes just became, you know,
so
like the
important.
nurses
Yeah.
and doctors, you know, everything was blown up. So, you know, there's a
Yeah.
little homage to my post and the lockdown and the keys and the clapping for our carers. So, you know, so the whole, I hope the whole
Amazing. It's like the
thing
entire story is up on your wallpaper.
yeah, trying to put that in an emoji with emojis. But I think the idea with emojis is, obviously, I know you love emojis. I love emojis. Everyone knows that I love emojis. But it's a universal communication. It's worldwide, and everyone recognizes the symbols. And it's, you know, it's a universal way to communicate. So I thought, you know, maybe in 20 years' time, if people are still using emojis, you still be able to know what this wallpaper was about.
Like,
it's really important for me. It's a very, very important piece.
Brilliant.
So,
and you've also, is there something on the floor as well? Sorry.
Yeah. We've had to take it off. I don't know if Tom can. Oh, hold on. I don't know if is this right. I don't know. Hold on. Yeah. So basically, I found the bar near me, my favourite bar, an eatery. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not very good. Was renovating, and I remember just before lockdown. Can you take this? I saw him, and he was getting rid of a whole load of lino from the bar, and I was like, "Please, can I have this lino?" So that's where the floor idea came from as well. So a lot of things that I've used are recycled in the house. And honestly, the floor came out much better than what I expected. I printed it quite later on. Like I printed it, I think, last week. Because it takes, I have to print with this special vinyl ink that smells to high earth. It's quite toxic and it dries really fast. So I had to work really fast doing it, but I'm really happy.
Oh, great. Yay.
You know, there's other little bits, but, you know, there are so many little elements going in there to trigger.
Yeah. But we'll save that. We'll save that.
So following through, so this area is going to be sort of the outside the loo.
Oh, reception's not very good, unfortunately. Maybe that's a sign that we should be saving it.
Huh?
I said the reception's not good once you go in. So I'm saying maybe it's a sign that we should not show it. Try
you
one more
should
time.
see a little bit more.
Yeah, go on. I want to.
Come on then.
Let's take the chance.
Let's see how far we can get. You tell me. How is it now?
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. Yep, good.
Yeah,
Keep going.
Yeah. The area that I'm standing in, this is going to be the disco. No, it's the UV area where there's going to be a lot of subliminal things hidden that only appear in UV light. And this area represents sort of sanitation, hence the UV, you know, because, you know, there's that story, like, everyone got obsessed with getting UV things to clean their keys.
Kill the germs, yeah.
To kill the germs. So outside the loo is that sort of killing germs section.
Okay. Yeah.
Staying coughing. I've got hay fever. I'm okay, guys.
Don't scare me.
I'm good. So this is our germ-free, sort of sanitized bit. It's got, I usually do these pink spots.
I love that.
But somehow they got turned, you know, they lent themselves to be COVID cells. So there's the COVID cell screen printed wallpaper over there.
You mean, wait, sorry, Ada, hold on a second. Are you saying that was not supposed to be the COVID germs? But what were you saying just now? Sorry?
No, because my pink spots are usually plain. but they
Yeah.
look like that. But we added the little COVID spots.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of like, yeah. But this area is going to be really, the lights. So panic room.
Yes, the panic room.
It's filled at the moment, but it's kind of confined, so you don't really need to see that. And if you want to, I'm only going to go as far. What should we show her? One little teaser.
One little teaser, please, and for everyone
Okay,
watching.
so this is our information center, so public information. So these pieces were inspired by a lot of news. So there's 3 pieces on this wall, but we're going to show you one. Tom, no, maybe we should. Again, there's wallpaper on this wall, but
I love how you've done it as well above that AIDA rail.
It's all backwards.
So,
there's Pepper.
It's all backwards. Oh. Ooh.
PPE not class. I'm actually, it's funny because on this video, I'm seeing it backwards. I see a mirror.
I know, but you kind of get the idea.
Yeah.
So this was very strange moments. So the Peppa Pig, I found again, literally, I was on my daily walk, and honestly, I walked and it was on my foot, this Peppa Pig lunchbox, right, that a child had thrown out because I think a little bit of the clasp had broken. And I'd been wanting to do a piece about clapping for my carers because I don't know if they did that in Hong Kong at all, but it was a worldwide thing.
Yeah. At a certain time, everybody clapped in support.
Yeah, on a Thursday. But the first one was great, really loud. The second one, less loud. The third one, and it kind of started dipping almost because I think people were getting really fed up about being told what to do. But not that we didn't support our carers. Sure,
yeah, but it wasn't what they really needed.
It wasn't what they needed. So yeah. I have to admit, I did. Sorry, it's pollen.
Get some water.
It's fine. I kind of thought after the first one, I spoke to some of my neighbours and I was like, oh, do you think we can start doing some sort of a collection of something? Sorry, excuse me.
Get some water. Hold on.
Oh. I didn't take my antihistamines today.
Oh, sweetie.
So what I decided to do, it was a bit shit, but I stopped clapping. I started sort of raising money through my prints and stuff like that, and doing projects that actually raised money for the carers.
Yeah.
But the fact that Pepper was a nurse. I mean, what were the chances of me finding this lunchbox with Pepper being a nurse? And this visor came from one of the Instagram adverts.
Okay. Oh, I see the plastic, that sort of big.
The PPE plastic. And we just put it on the Pepper and it worked really fine. I love this piece. I think it's, they're kind of designed as really crappy sort of, in the war, like you used to get the war posters about, information and stuff like that.
Like propaganda.
So I think these, propaganda. So these are kind of designed as that kind of propaganda that you might see in a doctor's office or a school or something like that. Yeah. So that's that. I don't know if you want to see other mess, but everything else is a mess.
Well, I would have liked to see what posters you guys did at your workshop, but we'll save that.
Well, you can go in, like there's some. I mean,
I like how the room sort of really, claustrophobic.
It's so claustrophobic, to be honest with you. We worked on it for a bit, but because I don't want to damage the work, we've had to use blue tack. So we're finding that everything's kind of coming down.
Oh no.
You know.
Are you gonna plaster on the ceilings as well? Like all over?
The ceiling.
Yeah.
It goes all the way down, if you know what I mean. There's more stuff down there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's better. You can see that. So look. So it has been sort of plastered. But you know, I think that's for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Even sort of we even included like thoughts and letters and things like that people wrote. So I think it's going to be what I'm thinking of doing maybe is maybe putting a time limit for people to be in there, because it's all, you're only allowed one person at a time. So hopefully when anyone's allowed in the house, I hope that I might give them, I might do a challenge maybe to say, try and last in that room for like 2 minutes with the door closed. Honestly, I'm in there for like 50 seconds and I already want to leave.
So I wouldn't last at all because I'm so claustrophobic.
It's very claustrophobic, isn't it? But that's what the whole point. It's going to be the whole point of it, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's
so
really great, Ada.
There's a lot of pollen flying about. A lot. So yeah, it's been fun. There's going to be loads of stuff hanging and that Juliet was prepping and stuff. It's going all right. It's going to be good.
Okay, good. Well, don't tire yourself out, please.
Are you trying to be funny?
I'm just checking to see. No, I'm not at all.
I know.
I'm trying to be genuinely caring and just saying, don't work yourself.
We're frozen.
I was just trying to see if
know.
anybody had asked any questions for you.
I don't know. Everyone's just waving at me. So I'm just waving at anyone. Does anyone want to ask me anything? No, just waves.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, because I don't want to keep you too long, because I know you've got a lot to do. And we've covered a lot. So I really appreciate you being part of the project. And also, thank you for being part of the coloring book.
Yes, the coloring book, which I'm going to start. I've kind of, I have an idea about the coloring book. Thanks, Julia. Why are you so great? I know. I try. Miss you. Oh, my friend Julia. The colouring book, I have a really great idea for that I think I'm going to put out next week. And I think it's a really great concept that I think it'd be lovely to get some submissions and things like that coming through that we could include in the house for sure. Was there a deadline for that?
There is a deadline. It's the 12th of July.
Oh, that's fine. We've got plenty of time. So if anyone wants to download the free colouring books, whoever's on here right now, maybe. But I will. I'll make sure to put that out because I think we will get a nice response. And then
that'd be fun. I mean, very much like your works. I like the idea of getting people involved in being part of the project and giving them an opportunity to voice how they feel about the pandemic.
It'd be interesting to see. I don't know what I've kind of felt in the last couple of weeks is that maybe because, you know, it's kind of human nature that we adapt, we survive, we move on. I'm just, my next question, I suppose, that maybe I might make work from is that how much of this are we going to really remember, if you know what I mean? Because
Good question.
the current feeling in the UK, from what I've seen already, is that, you know, the streets are just almost like back to normal, to be honest with you. You know, everyone's out. You know, this whole, I don't care if it's 1 meter, 2 meter. The thing that I first questioned is who came up with this whole 2 meter thing. It's like meaningless to me, because if you cough or sneeze, it travels so far. So social distancing for me means nothing. To be honest, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's just a plucked up number from kind of God knows
No,
where.
I totally agree. I mean, I think if anything, you know, talking about social distancing, I think it's much more important to wear a mask, really.
Yeah.
And, you know, in Asia, we just have that culture where everyone just does it, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, Hong Kong, people are going to, you know, things are back to normal in Hong Kong, but the difference is everybody is wearing a mask. Everybody. And everybody feels like it's a civic duty. You know, it's not just for themselves, but it's for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't think the pandemic's going to go away. I don't think COVID's going to go away. And, you know, although I can get the frustration and, you know, people wanting to get out and socialize again, you know, I can't help but frown on it, especially when I hear about London. Because I'm assuming now you can get masks, right?
Yeah, masks are fine. My favourite shop, Lidl, stocks them. I stocked up the other day. You know, my beautiful friend Felicity and her mum Jean sent me a care package like months ago with this really lovely sort of unicorn pattern too that I sometimes adore now. But the thing was, like, when I was in Hong Kong last year, it was, as you say, it was the thing to do, and it's a conscientious thing to do. I just feel, I mean, I don't want to be so down with the British public, but, you know, there was a point where the panic set in. You know, I'm normally quite calm, you know, and I work really well under pressure. But there was a point when Hackney, where I live, the borough, was the highest, you know, affected in the whole of England, the third highest. So can you imagine? That's why I went so serious, because I stepped out. No one would move out of my way. No one had a mask on, and I was like, of course, Hackney, this is what's happening to my people in my area. So I think it was that level of unconscious, how do you say that word? Unconscious, not unconscientious. You know, and I think maybe us in Britain aren't as unconscious, whatever word it is, as everywhere else, because my design assistant lives in Sweden, and what was really interesting when we were working remotely, he had no concept of what I was designing. He was like, oh, is that what's going on? I was like, is that how you're feeling? Because we haven't really been affected here. Like,
but their approach was very different, wasn't it?
Sorry?
Their approach was very different, and the government's approach was also very different.
So, but you know what? That's what made me realise that this virus has affected everybody all across the world differently. So, you know, when you say, oh, we're all in this together, actually we're not, because the rich, the superstars, you know,
of course,
having Madonna sing in her bathroom at 3 a.m. about how she's run out of chips or fish or something, she's going to go and fry some fish, right? And then you see the pandemic reaching, you know, Syria, or or in sort of the refugee camps where they've only got cold water to wash their hands and no sanitation and no soap. So I'm like, you know, personally, I'm going to swear and go, fuck you, Madonna. I really don't give a shit about your lockdown in one of your mansions.
Of course, it's so
You know,
disconnected from the reality.
so
for many
disconnected.
people.
And please, like, we're really, this hasn't affected all of us the same way. And it made me really angry. Actually, I'm still angry, to be honest. So I try to mainly stay off that side of things than obviously the point of like not even being able to process the news. I stopped watching the news. I don't know if you did that at all, because the statistics were getting ridiculous. And
No,
I
I
just
mean, I
found
definitely overkilled on all that and started to
really
avoid it. Yeah.
And then that kind of stemmed, you know, earlier on you asked me how the pandemic's affected me. And I think it even stemmed to me isolating myself from my loved ones and friends also, because I kind of just got so absorbed with this project, if I'm honest, because I think it was the only way that I could grieve almost and process at the same time. So the making process became quite cathartic and obsessive at some points, that if I wasn't doing it, I'd be like, what else am I going to be doing? I just need to keep working and kind of getting my head around
There's
this.
a distraction.
But I'm really actually really grateful that you asked me to be this. I think had I not been, and I'm going to get so tearful, had I not done this, I don't think I would have known my limitations.
Oh, Ada, we're so glad you're part of it too.
No, but you know what? Like,
it's gonna have an impact, you know?
Yeah, but it just kind of it actually pushed me. I mean, I've had levels, honestly. Like, I've done some stupid projects that have just really taken it out of me. But this time, under these circumstances, I've learned that actually, if I can do this in a pandemic, I can do anything, I think. So thank you.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise I'll just be like making pretty things and not even dealing with this. So I hope I come out of it a better person and a better understanding of my artistic practice, I think.
Oh, that's so great to hear.
Thank you.
And I really can't wait to see it all once it's done. And I will try come to England. Fuck you, COVID. You're not going to stop me.
No, that is it. That was it, basically. It was like, yeah, motherfucker, you think I can't get some cap stitched? I can get some cap stitched. You know? That kind of thing.
That was like me with this, you know, with this project. I was just like, fuck you, I'm doing it no matter what, even though I have to do it all the way from here. But so blessed to have, you know, artists like yourself, people like Tom and Ian and everybody. You know, without them, this wouldn't have happened. So lucky.
No, it's been phenomenal, and you know, it's really taught us that that we can work remotely. It's probably bless you, Tom.
Yeah.
That we can work remotely, that we can get shit done, we can get things moving, and you know, you should be so proud of doing this. And I know there's a lot of people out there looking, you know, there's not much happening in London right now in terms of the art scene and the gallery scene and stuff like that. There's few more independent galleries have done really nice community projects where they've involved everyone, and I think, you know, those have been fun. But I think a lot of people I know are really, really looking forward to this show, and they should be, because I can tell people that it's already looking pretty amazing. I've been trying to keep away from the other rooms. So I was just like, I don't want to see it. Yeah.
Well, hopefully,
So
you
well
know,
done, you and
depending
the
on
team.
restrictions. Thanks, Ada. We will have it open for a month, I hope. And we'll probably keep it to like, you know, minimum amount of people at a time.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's also why I wanted to create the virtual reality tour. It's not the same ever as seeing, you know, pieces in person, but at least it'll be immortalized on the internet.
We'll have it forever. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
Well, I
you know,
know that our time's coming up and I don't want to be cut off short.
no
And
problem.
plus, I know you have a lot to do.
It's okay. It's fine. I'll just have, look, our lovely neighbours brought us cake. So I'm just going to have some cake, have some tea, and then go back to pasting
Excellent.
things.
Maybe
Yeah.
a few Bloody Marys later in the evening.
Sorry, Nicole.
All
Our
right,
Bloody
Ada. I'm going to
Marys,
sign off.
yes.
Thank
My
you so much.
favourite. Thank you.
And thank you so
Thanks
much
so
for doing
much.
this. I know it's your first, so I really appreciate it. Bye. Take care.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye. Thanks, everyone. Can we save? Did we save it?